What is this madness, Oda? Imu Sama's power has finally been revealed, and according to the leaks from chapter 1150, she has defeated the giants and taken full control of the entire island. She even transformed Dorry and Brogy, despite their great strength, into demonic beings. Oda gave us a glimpse of Imu Sama's true power, which is sorcery. She appears to be a demonic entity who fights using dark magic. But the question remains, with all this overwhelming power, how can Luffy possibly overcome her? Imu Sama exerts total control over the Gorosei and the Holy Knights. On the other side, we have Joy Boy, who is her complete opposite. Joy Boy possesses a power similar to Imu's, but based on granting freedom instead of imposing oppression. First, let's remember that Imu Sama grants her chosen ones extraordinary powers, but in exchange, she strips them of their freedom and will, imposing absolute control over them. The abilities she bestows include teleportation via magical circles, immortality, and rapid regeneration, and formidable combat skills that don't seem to come from devil fruits, like the strange transformations of the Gorosei. The characters who have demonstrated these powers are the 5 Gorosei and the Holy Knights, Shamrock, Summers, Gornko, Killingham, and others. The proof that Imu Sama is the source of these supernatural powers, like teleportation, immortality, regeneration, and healing, is evident in what happened with Saint Saturn, Garling, and Gornko. After Saturn failed his mission on Egghead, Imu Sama killed him and took away his immortality, which clearly indicates this ability is granted, not inherent. Later, Garling was promoted to the Gorosei member in charge of scientific research, inheriting dark powers similar to Saturn's, though not necessarily identical. Imu Sama's control over Gornko shows she can manipulate the bodies of all who bear the marks. Are these powers limited only to the celestial dragons because of their status? The answer is unknown for now. However, Gornko's appearance and attire raise doubts. Some Holy Knights might just be lower tier pawns. I'm currently waiting for flashbacks about Gornko and Brook, but what is clear is that Imu Sama favors noble bloodlines and pure dragon celestial descendants. The condition for granting this power is the mark of binding placed on them. About this mark of binding, it appears as a star-shaped sigil on the bodies of the Gorosei and Holy Knights. We know little about it, but it allows Imu Sama to summon anyone who bears it to other locations. Those under her control receive these powers and become vessels for Imu Sama's own abilities. Joy Boy also grants powers, but he grants freedom, which paradoxically leads to control. The question is, how can freedom and will lead to control? Let's examine the characters and evidence now. Luffy, as Joy Boy, ignited Bonnie's will, pushing her to unleash unprecedented power. This proves that Joy Boy's strength manifests through granting willpower. The will that Luffy gives Bonnie becomes the spark for a latent ability, pushing her beyond her limits. Mihawk tells us that Luffy's strength surpasses everyone at the Summit War and all seas because he can unite everyone under his banner, whether as allies, friends, supporters, or followers. This is proof that Joy Boy holds power, but it's a power exercised through freedom and individual will. Imu Sama controls Gornko's body by force and strips her of freedom and will, while Joy Boy controls without taking away freedom or will from those who aid him. During the Summit War, Whitebeard ordered his crew to protect Luffy, and we saw great characters like Marco, Vista, and Whitebeard's commanders keeping enemies at bay. Jinbe declared his loyalty, Crocodile supported him, Buggy and those who came with him from Impel Down stood with him in the darkest times. No other character enjoys such voluntary support and loyalty, except from true strength, visible influence, and without imposing authority or control. Luffy, as Joy Boy, gains the power to unite everyone by choice. Kobe, with no combat power or skills, was oppressed and controlled by the infamous pirate Alvida. When he met Luffy, their differences in thoughts and goals were clear. One wanted to be a pirate, the other a marine. Luffy inspired and guided Kobe to follow his dreams, overcoming Alvida's oppression, his fears, and his cowardice. Even such a person gains freedom from Luffy and later acquires combat skills. Kobe met Luffy again and promised to become stronger. Fujitora faced Luffy multiple times. During these confrontations, he was shocked by how the people protected Luffy and how Luffy cleansed the world government's corruption, spreading justice in his own way. Fujitora wished he hadn't blinded himself so he could see Luffy's true face, thanked him for his kindness, and helped by dropping debris on an enemy approaching later as a farewell gift and voluntary gesture. The Straw Hat fleet, made of 7 pirate crews, pledged loyalty to serve under Luffy's leadership after their alliance to overthrow Doflamingo's rule in Dressrosa. However, the shock came when Luffy refused their request to officially join his fleet, saying it would restrict their freedom and will. They eventually agreed the Straw Hat fleet would help him any time, and Luffy told them he would always help his friends whenever they asked. Kuma once tested the Straw Hat crew because he suspected something about them. He fought them to assess their loyalty and character until he was convinced they were destined to bring justice in a certain way. It might seem like Kuma's aid was ordered by Dragon or done for his leader, but Kuma's actions were a future service to Luffy's crew. Kuma was aware of the Liberation Warrior before, and the impact Luffy had on him. Kuma's message to Vegapunk said, "His actions truly moved me. I know Joy Boy is a legend, but it would be wonderful if there really was a warrior who brings smiles to people's faces and follows the rhythm of freedom, the rhythm I taught Bonnie. If there's a hero who will change this world one day, I believe it will be him. I believe Luffy may eventually share his power with others and let them imagine what they desire. Unlike Imu, who chooses and controls them, Luffy grants freedom and lets them choose their own path. Based on the story's pace, Luffy might begin learning how to grant fighting powers sourced from Joy Boy, but for now, this seems unlikely based on the current events. And here's a compelling thought to chew on. Scopper Gaban could very well be the key to unlocking Luffy's full potential as the new Joy Boy. Having been a first-hand witness to the final chapter of Roger's journey at Raftel, Gaban undoubtedly carries secrets about the true nature of the Nika fruit's power. Secrets that even the world government desperately wants to keep hidden. It's likely that Gaban has been waiting patiently for the right person, someone worthy to inherit this knowledge and continue the legacy. But knowing Luffy, he might not even need someone to hand it to him. Time and again, we've seen how he's a quick thinker in the heat of battle. From discovering Crocodile's water weakness and turning it against him, to understanding that Ryo Haki could affect Kaido's seemingly invincible body, Luffy's battlefield intelligence is nothing short of genius. This means that as he faces Imu Sama and her overwhelming sorcery, Luffy's mind will be racing, piecing together clues and strategies to harness his Joy Boy powers to their fullest extent. Ultimately, whether through guidance from a legendary figure like Gaban, or through his own battle instincts and wit, Luffy is on a path to mastering a power that's about much more than just strength. It's about freedom, willpower, and changing the very world itself. The fight against Imu Sama won't just be a battle of might, but a clash of ideologies. And Luffy's journey to uncover and control his Joy Boy abilities will be at the heart of this epic showdown. In the end, what we're witnessing is more than just a battle for power. It's the clash between two forces that define the very fabric of this world. On one side, Imu Sama, wielding control through fear, magic, and absolute domination, stripping others of their freedom and will. On the other, Luffy, the true embodiment of Joy Boy, who inspires others through freedom, courage, and unbreakable spirit. This is a story about choosing your own path, about fighting to reclaim not just power, but autonomy and hope. Luffy's journey is far from over. With every ally he gathers, every enemy he challenges, and every lesson he learns, he moves closer to fulfilling a destiny that transcends the seas. A destiny of liberation and unity. Whether it's the mysterious powers bestowed by Scopper Gaban, the unwavering loyalty of his crew and allies, or his own growing mastery of Joy Boy's will, Luffy stands as the beacon of change in a world shrouded in shadows. The final chapters will be about more than just who wins or loses. They will reveal the true meaning of strength, freedom, and legacy. And as we watch this epic saga unfold, one thing is certain: the age of Joy Boy has truly begun.